Welcome to Pilots Watching Pilots, the show where we watch pilots of your favorite TV shows. There's no Mike today, but we do have K-Zone! K-Zone, what do we got going?
Ryan, today we're talking about a show that premiered on March 26, 1989. It starred Scott Bakula as Dr. Sam Beckett. In the near future, he wanted to prove his theories about time travel within his own lifetime. In order to not lose funding, he prematurely stepped into the quantum accelerator and vanished. Of course, we're talking about Quantum Leap, one of my favorite shows of the 90s.
Oh, wow, really?
Really?
Oh, terrible.
What do you say we break it down?
All right, let's break down the episode. That's weird coming out of my mouth. That's normally a Ryan line, but we're here with K-Zone, so let's get into it. Now, the story starts out with three characters, kind of, you're wondering who's in this or whatever, and then Scott Bakula, the lead, he jumps into the science machine.
The quantum accelerator.
Quantum accelerator, which is kind of the plot device for the entire series. Sure. So, in this machine, he could jump through time and space. You know, he goes and ends up in different people's bodies in
within his
years.
own lifetime.
Within his lifetime of this, and he's into a different human being. So he wakes up and he thinks everything is okay. He's a little confused. It's almost like, oh, was I just blacked out drunk? No, sir. You're a time traveler. So he looks at himself in the mirror and doesn't recognize the person, and he also doesn't recognize the wife, because why would he? He's not married to this woman. So he's trying to figure out who he is, why he is, what is anything. You know, it's very confusing. And in this first episode, because it's a pilot, it is drawn out painfully so. Like, it is too long and drawn out of like what's going on. Like, I struggled at moments, because the rest of the series, once you get that, you buy into it and you're like, yeah, we're ready to go. The first 15 seconds they show who he's going to be, and you're like, let's just have a good episode now. Let's just have fun. Yeah. So this one, they had to explain that, which is hard, you know? This was hard that it's that long, but...
Well, part of it is obviously he has some kind of amnesia from when he first goes into the quantum accelerator. Obviously, in later episodes and later leaps, as it were, you know, he's familiar with this setting. I like the interplay where they introduce Al, who's his, you know, assistant, that is visible only to him, not to anyone else.
Yeah.
And he doesn't quite know what Al is or what his deal is, and so they play off of that in the first episode. I think some of that was necessary just to establish the show for those, obviously, who had never watched it before, since it's the pilot episode. But you know, later episodes are obviously more concise. You get right into the meat and potatoes of the plot and what's going on.
Yeah, and so he jumps into this character, Tom.
Who do you see in the mirror?
Oh, Tom, would you cut it out? You nearly scared me into delivering.
Who do you see in the mirror?
He's an airplane pilot. And so Scott Bakula's up there, and he's like, I don't know how to fly a fucking plane.
Right.
When I woke up this morning, I couldn't remember how to fly.
They're trying to explain that he doesn't know who he is, where in future episodes they can do that in a lot shorter time, because you get the premise of the show. Sure. So this had to be longer for that reason. I felt maybe a little too long in that sense, but it was still fun. It was still fun to see him in these situations.
Right. And again, I think some of that was necessary to establish, as I mentioned, his relationship with Al, and actually the scene where he's flying the plane and he has no idea what he's doing, and Al comes in, he's like, just follow my movements.
Yeah.
So he does that. I think that is a nice way of establishing his relationship with Al, who he obviously comes to rely on very much throughout the series to explain to him why he's where he is, what he needs to do to leap out of there, so that hopefully, eventually, he can leap back home.
Therefore, leaping from one point in the string to another
Would move you backward or forward within your own lifetime.
Yeah, that's the driving factor of the show, is his idea to go back home. He wants to return home. He's traveling around into different humans, and it's so like endearing that he has to like save all of these people. All of them are in a weird spot throughout time where they need, his help somehow to be able to do that, and he doesn't know how or why. And every episode's about him finding out the reason why he's there, and as soon as he finds out, boom, he's in a new body and trying to help a new person, which is
Right.
a kind of a fun fucking premise for a show.
It's a great premise for a show, but imagine it must be very stressful for Dr.
Oh.
Sam Beckett.
Yeah, I mean, he's at panic level a million the entire time.
Your dog. He knew.
On a personal note, one thing that this episode actually reminded me of is twice in my life I've done LSD, and I felt a little bit like that's what he was experiencing, where he was like, I don't know who I am, where I am, and why I am where I am, and what's going on. And it's a little bit like that for me. So
It's a fever dream.
it kind of was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how's that drink for you, by the way?
I'm about done here.
All right, well, let's call the stewardess, see if we can get something a little bit stronger. shall we?
What? You did the thing that I do. I've never done this. Ryan's gonna be so jealous. All right, K-Zone, what are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking a combination of 99 proof watermelons, 99 proof peanut butter whiskey, and Pink Whitney. I'll affectionately refer to this combination as a Neapolitan.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
call. Shout out Courtney Basinger for the Pink Whitney guy. He loves it, and we love him. Ryan, you're a huge 99. We're a huge 99 brand
Yeah, we
fan.
actually are.
So we're gonna probably do this just fine. We've never mixed three things before.
Did you guys smell it?
It smells just like peanut butter. I don't know anything else, but watermelon, sugar, high. Let's go.
Watermelon sugar high.
Great Harry
Watermelon
Styles
sugar
reference.
high. Watermelon
Oh, that's gross. That's weird.
How's that right?
So, since the show's ending, both Dean Stockwell and Sam, or Scott Bakula, have expressed interest in doing more shows. In the show, the year that he leaped the most to was 1957. He actually leaped there 7 different times throughout the series history, which is wild. Also, most of the show, outside of a couple times he went way back in time, was about him leaping into different years of his life from 1953 when he was born on. And he didn't leap into 1977, 1984, or 1986. Out of all the years in the show, they actually skipped those 3 years, which is kind of weird. That shot was a little fucked up, right? That was a little weird for everyone. I thought it was a little
It was rough.
too tangy, I think. The tang was what I didn't like about it. Ryan.
Are you talking about the fucking tang?
Yeah, you didn't like the tang?
Dude, it
Not that kind
still
of tang.
burns.
We're gonna get some tang round here.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of tang around here as Flyboys.
Am I that big of a fucking pussy that you guys are fine?
I wasn't fine. I yelled first. You took it an hour after we did that.
I
That
yelled.
was a problem. You did Yelp. Speaking of Yelp, I'm going to need your personal recommendations.
I'm in big trouble here. I don't even remember going to bed with this woman, whoever she is.
I don't know that I necessarily recommend Quantum Leap's pilot episode, but I think it's a great series, and I think you should watch it. And one of the most unique shows ever on television, really. Great concept, great actors.
All you have to do is break Mach 3 and live.
So you'd recommend it? You recommend people go
I recommend the
watch-
show, but not the pilot necessarily. But again, the thing is, the pilot episode again is about pilots. So for this show, perfect.
I didn't know that he was going to jump into a pilot.
Right.
And we've only done a couple things where there's been planes in it, and it's been so fun. I was super pumped that he jumped into a pilot. And then I got instantly kind of disappointed when they started dragging for a minute, because they're trying to explain a show that is a fucking science degree. The show is like, you got to have a brain for the show for it to make sense. Like, it's not just a dumb watcher. This is something that's like, yeah, this is smart and heartfelt and serious, but then a comedy. You know, there's a lot to this.
Hey, Flyboy, the squares are gone. You want a boogie?
To summarize, whether or not you choose to watch the pilot episode of Quantum Leap, do not sleep on this series. It's one of the best of the 90s. Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell do fantastic performances. Mike, what do you say we land this bird?
Whoa, I get to land the bird. Now, you know what? I'm going to fuck that up because I literally have been drinking too much. We're going to have drunk Ryan. He knows how to land the bird. So, Ryan, why don't you come back and land this fucking bird?
Thanks for watching. Be sure you like and subscribe. K-Zone, what do you got?
Seems we've come to the end of the episode. We've put right what once went wrong. And let's hope the next leap will be the leap home.
French vanilla, rocky road, chocolate, peanut butter, cookie dough. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is.
Riggle!